Okay, I'm working on this older Polaris. It's a 95 Explorer. And sometimes when you turn the key and then press the start button, nothing happens. So if you hold the start button and tap the ignition switch, it'll turn over. So I'm going to go through and clean the switch and show you how to do that. Start by taking these 3 screws out. In this case, they're Phillips. I don't know if they are from the factory, but you deal with old stuff, you don't know what you're getting into. So I'm going to pop these guys out. Once you have the 3 screws out, you can pull the key and then grab a crescent wrench or channel locks and back this nut off. It's plastic, so it shouldn't be too tight. Pull that guy off, and then on the choke lever, just pull that. And usually you can get these by hand. Pull the choke lever out and pull that nut off. I almost forgot, there's 2 hidden screws underneath here. One here and one there on the other side of the headlight. So pop those guys out too. Alright, I finally got those screws out. It's kind of a pain because you need a short screwdriver and there's not much room, and the screws are 16 miles long. So pull that up. You can see those screws are like excessively long. But anyway, pull this pod kind of out of the way, and there's our ignition switch. This particular switch doesn't have a connector on the back like most, so we're going to take out these 4 Phillips screws. So I got the 4 screws out. There's also a zip tie that you can pry out of the way. It holds onto this little notch there. So here's our internals. It's not that bad, but it does have a little bit of corrosion on it. And this side actually looks really good. We'll still clean them up and see if we can buy a little time out of this original switch. Okay, we're going to take a little wire brush and clean these pins. But before you do that, make sure you disconnect your negative battery cable. You will have sparks flying if you contact these. Don't ask me how I know. So disconnect your battery and then just go through here with a little wire brush and brush that clean, as well as the ignition switch too. Now that I got that clean, it wasn't that bad to begin with, but cleaned it. We're going to put a little dielectric grease on there and then put it back together. Got my dielectric grease on there and in here. And then we're just going to snap it back together and then reverse the disassembly process. I got the screws in there, back of the switch, and you're just going to want to pop this through. And it is idiot proof. It does have a notch, so you rotate it until that notch fits in the slot just like that. And then we can pop this nut on. And then you'll want to pop the nut on this choke cable too. With the nut on the ignition switch and the choke tight, then just put the rest of the pod together, put all your screws in, don't forget the front ones, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, once you get the pod on, which is fun because those screws suck to get in, reconnect your battery and see how she works. Butter.